Do you have a DJI Air 3? And if so, should you upgrade to the DJI Air 3S? Well, in this video, I'm going to point out the 9 key differences between the two drones. So by the end of this video, you'll know exactly if it's worth the upgrade. G'day friends, as you can see here, I purchased the DJI Air 3S and I'll explain why I upgraded later in the video. But just because it's a new drone, is it that much better than the Air 3? So without getting too technical and getting into the weeds of every little aspect of the drone, I decided to explain the 9 key differences so you can decide for yourself. Let's get started. So first, let's go over what has remained the same. Firstly, both the Air 3 and the Air 3S do 4K 60 frames per second HDR video. They both have 2 cameras, one being a 70mm lens and the other being a 24mm lens. This is a feature I love because you can switch between the two and zoom in and out without loss of any quality. But there are some changes to this, which I'll go over in a minute. Both drones have a max range of 20 kilometers, which is pretty decent when battery flight time is around 45 minutes for the 3S and 46 minutes for the older model. So it's basically the same. They both have quick shots where you can get those cinematic types of shots automatically. You can just select the shot you want and it does it for you. And they both have omnidirectional obstacle sensing to avoid obstacles. Now let's talk differences. The main camera has been upgraded to a 1-inch CMOS wide angle camera. The previous version was a 1/1/3 CMOS sensor. And what this means is the bigger the sensor, the better it behaves in low light. And in brightly lit situations, it'll give your images and video more detail and color. The second tele camera is the same sensor size as the previous model, but it's an all new design. So what extra features does this drone actually do? Well, one is slow motion. The Air 3 can do 4K at 100 frames per second, whereas the 3S does 4K at 120 frames a second. So to simplify this, the higher the frames per second, the more you can slow your footage down, keeping it smooth and perfect. So this is a pretty big step, but it's not huge, as 100 frames per second on the older model is still pretty decent. Although with the bigger sensor on the Air 3S, your slow motion should look a lot better. So let's talk camera megapixels. The DJI Air 3 shoots at 48 megapixels and the DJI Air 3S shoots at 50 megapixels. So it's not a huge difference in megapixels. I think I could say megapixels again. But when you have a larger sensor, it will improve the quality of your images. So let's go over the weight here. The Air 3 weighs 720 grams and the Air 3S weighs 724. And I'm assuming this little bit of extra weight is why I get 1 minute less flight time. But I'll be honest, whether you're flying for 45 minutes or 46 minutes, it's really no difference. And these flight times are in controlled conditions. In the real world, you always get much less than the 48 minutes or 50 minutes or 20 minutes or whatever. Although both drones have great obstacle avoidance systems, where the 3S shines, it has the 4 cameras on the front and the back, as well as the bottom camera and sensors. So you've got cameras here and here, here and here, and you've got sensors on the bottom as well. But where the Air 3S shines over the Air 3 is it has what's called LiDAR, which stands for light detection and ranging. And this is an amazing feature as it's not dependent on those cameras to detect obstacles. So when you fly at night, it will pick up obstacles much easier. Another feature I like is about the Air 3S is the ability to see what those other 4 cameras or 5 cameras on your drone are doing. You can select each one and see what they see. The Air 3's highest ISO you can shoot at is 6400, whereas the 3S will shoot at 12,800, which will make a decent difference for the better when shooting in low light. Of course, this drone has active track, follow me features and spotlight mode and point of interest, but the tracking in the Air 3S has been upgraded as well. You can now track vehicles easier like cars and boats, and it seems to work really well. This is a feature I like because the internal storage of the Air 3 was pretty average at 8 gigabytes, but the Air 3S will store 42 gigabytes internally. So if you're out and about and you forget your SD card, or if your SD card appears to be faulty, you have that backup, which I really like. Another feature I like about the DJI Air 3S is the different color settings, which allows you to have more control over your footage, namely 10-bit D-Log-M. This means when shooting, it retains as much information as possible and it gives you much more dynamic range, so you can color correct and have more control over the image without loss of quality, or introducing grain and so on. Now for those of you who want to upgrade the DJI Air 3S with the base controller, which is this one, the AUSSIE N3 controller, the price is $1,099, but you can do what I did here and purchase the Fly More combo, which gives you 2 more extra batteries along with a set of ND filters and a battery charging hub like this one, which I really like. And the price for the Fly More combo is US $13.99. Now, why did I upgrade? Well, the previous drone I was using was this beast right here. It's the Mavic 2 Pro. This is my workhorse in my business and it's still an amazing drone. I would have bought the Air 3 when it came out, but the Mavic 2 Pro has a 1-inch sensor, so it would have been a downgrade for me. But now that the Air 3S has the bigger sensor and a whole lot of other features, it was a no-brainer for me. If you do decide to upgrade to the Air 3S from the Air 3, then you can use the batteries from the Air 3. So if you purchased the Fly More combo when you bought your Air 3, you could keep 2 of those batteries from that and sell the older drone with 1 battery, and then you'd have 5 batteries for the new drone. So should you upgrade from the 3 to the 3S? Well, it really comes down to what you're going to be using it for. If you're using it recreationally and having some fun or shooting holidays, then probably not. The Air 3 is still an awesome drone, but if you use it for work or you work in the film industry and you need to have all the latest and greatest features, then it's a yes from me. But maybe you don't have a DJI Air 3, maybe you have a Mini 4 Pro or a Mini 3 and you're thinking about upgrading. Well, you can check out this video here and I'll see you over there. Thanks for watching.